Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. But what you see going into that tank is gold-bearing sand. The water just helps it along. There are 28 of these redwood tanks, each holding 700 tons of sand. 8 hours to fill a tank, and 20 to drain the water from it. Then air is forced up through the sand to provide oxygen necessary in the cyanide treatment. The incoming cyanide solution goes on dissolving the particles of gold left in the sand after amalgamation and liquefies it. It's hard to imagine gold being dissolved in a liquid like sugar in your coffee, but that is exactly what cyanide solution does. It turns gold into liquid. And there it is, liquid gold.
Nuclear power plants fueled with uranium are already producing electricity for millions of Americans, and many more of these plants will be built in the future.
I want to report a murder.
Sit down. Where was this murder committed?
San Francisco, last night.
Who was murdered?
I was.
And life hung on the quickness of a trigger finger. There was gold in them thar hills, gold at Spring Creek, gold at Crook City, gold at Central City, gold on the mountains, in the rivers, and in the dark depths far below the surface of the earth. For centuries uncounted, men have sought, fought, and died for gold, as they did in the Black Hills when the West was young. Still a mining camp, but a mining camp with 20th century trimmings. The homestake mine is still there, for lead is homestake, and homestake is lead. Would you like to mine for gold? Today, gold mining means raw materials, men and construction, combined with the science of chemistry and the wonders of modern engineering, all of which are necessary to make homestake ore pay. New construction, which will take 2 years at a cost of about $3 million to complete. done from the top down. The shafts are cut from the bottom up. Tunnels, or drifts as the miners call them, are blasted from the solid rock to connect old workings with the exact location of the new shaft. Then the latter moves upward in many separate segments or links, which one by one are merged into a single vertical opening. Precision engineering makes sure the drifts meet the new shaft at the right places. But it's not as easy as that. Opening up a level and placing it in proper condition for mining requires many months of work. Drilling, blasting, ditching, hauling waste rock. More than 3.5 million feet of timber.
Our country is dependent upon the uranium industry and the uranium miners for a continuing adequate supply of this magic element. The magic of uranium stems from its property of radioactivity. It is this same property, however, that endangers the health of workers who mine and handle uranium. Therefore, special precautions must be taken to protect uranium miners from exposure to excessive radioactivity. The awesome power of the nuclear explosion has been harnessed and is being used to benefit all our lives. The property called radioactivity means that individual atoms decay at a certain rate and emit energy in the process. Each decay event results in a breakdown of the original atom into an atom of a different element and is accompanied by a characteristic release of energy. Beginning with its change to thorium-234, each atom of uranium is transformed in steps through 13 elements before becoming a stable atom of lead. One element in this uranium decay series is a gas called radon. Thus, radon is being gradually formed in all uranium-bearing rock. Being a gas, radon can seep into the mine air from rock surfaces and cracks exposed by mine openings. Normal radioactive decay of radon then continues in the mine atmosphere.
This diamond bit has a value of some $4,000. It doesn't look like it, does it? But that's right, this is worth about $4,000, and I think you can see why if we look at it carefully here. Because these little individual chips all around the face are real diamonds. They're very hard. This is a special kind of a bit that we call a core bit, and it's used to rotate and cut away a section of the rock through which we're drilling. The section might look like this. This happens to be a core sample of a shale. This is brought
About 1921, an early suspicion of the danger of radiation from radon and its daughters came from Europe, where uranium and radium were being mined. In one district where radon daughter concentrations were very high and mine ventilation was poor, about half of the deaths among underground miners was from cancer. Records are not available, but it is assumed that early American uranium miners had a similar exposure to radon daughters.
This is the final result of the vast operations above and below. Less than a week ago, this gold was imprisoned in hard and tough rock, thousands of feet below the surface of the earth. What miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold from the ore. 4/10 of an ounce of bright yellow metal is what you see here, and it comes from 1 ton of ore. 1 ton of ore mined with modern equipment. 1 ton of ore hauled and hoisted to the surface. 1 ton of ore crushed and ground to a fine sand. 1 ton of ore through the rod mill for amalgamation, through the great tanks for cyanidation. The coordinated effort of hundreds of men above and below the surface of the earth, complicated machinery, modern science, all working together so that 4/10 of an ounce of gold may be wrested from 1 ton of ore.
And obviously there was a gun in that hand.
President Kennedy and Governor John Connally have been cut down by assassin's bullets in downtown Dallas.
Response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local.
Good evening. Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
I saw a hand coming up behind several others in the front row, and obviously there was a gun in that hand.
Good evening. Now it's happened again. Less than 7 weeks ago, the President of the United States in the city of Washington. Today, the Pope in the eternal city of Rome. The latest on the disaster at the World Trade Center. An underground explosion killed several people, injuring hundreds more.
Good evening, everyone. For thousands, it was a day of terror in the Twin Towers.
And the search for the cause of this explosion is now in the hands of, among others, the FBI and the New York City Police Bomb Squad.
Were there rules of engagement by the FBI? What were they?
Yes, they were, that they would not shoot unless someone's life was in danger.
Last winter, the FBI was praised for its speed in cracking the case of the World Trade Center bombing and bringing 4 suspects to trial. Now, there is some evidence that the FBI may have known of the plot in advance through an informant and might even have stopped the bombing that killed 6 people.
Shall we play a game?
Teaserama is coming to this theater.
The well-known shell game. 3 walnut shells and a pea. We place the pea under a shell. Under which shell is the pea? Many people have wagered $1, so sure were they that they knew. Most people's shell. Few people will say under this one.
All right now, for all you boppers out there in the big city, all you street people with an ear for the action, I've been asked to relay a request from the Gramercy Riffs. It's a special for the Warriors. That's that real live bunch from Coney. And I do mean the Warriors. Here's a hit with them in mind.
Hey, vanity, this bottle's empty. So are you. Hey, glamorous, this vibe.
width of the brim? Well, obviously, yes. It would be absurd to think differently. But wait a minute, let's see. So, 6 inches. And so, exactly 6 inches. Here is a formation of cubes. Count them. How many cubes are there? Some of us will count 6. Some will count 7. And now, let's look at the same thing from another point of view, from another perspective. Now count them. Now how many are there? Are there 7 or 6? Strange, isn't it, how a different point of view can change the appearance of things? We're looking at a silhouette. Is it an animal? A moose, a reindeer, a buffalo? The head of a man? Or is it a witch? Is it a tree? Or the fear that lurks in so many minds? An atomic cloud? But you see, it's only an overturned ink bottle, a blot of ink. Some of us see the truth. Some of us see only part of the truth. Some of us never see the truth.
Strange game. The only winning move is not to play. Shall we play a game?
Not the way I'm wired, so could you please help
boppers out there in the big city, all you street people with an ear for the action, I've been asked to relay a request from the Gramercy Riffs. It's a special for the Warriors. That's that real live bunch from Coney, and I do mean the Warriors. Here's a hit with them in mind.
What vase?
That vase.
I'm sorry.
I said don't worry about it. I'll get one of my kids to fix it.
How did you know?
Oh, what's really going to bake your noodle later on is would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
See winds on through the hills for 15 days. The pack on my back is aching. The strap seems cut me like a knife. you've all gone mad, 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 I'm standing alone, I'm watching you all, I'm seeing the same.
About 100 years ago, San Francisco was a 12,000-mile trip from Brooklyn because you had to go by the Horn. Today, 3,000 miles away. The San Franciscans won't be satisfied until they're part of Brooklyn. And after seeing San Francisco, I can understand why. They boast about their progress. Up to 1849, their entire population could have sat in the shade of the one tree that grows, you know where. Today, they got almost 1 million, and they owe it all to the 49 gold rush. When they found they couldn't get rich any other way, they went and discovered gold. While the gold lasted, everybody was busy digging and digging. When there was no gold left, they found they were stuck with 14 hills of dirt. So it shouldn't be a total loss. They decided to build San Francisco on those hills. Seeing San Francisco without seeing Chinatown is like visiting New York without taking in Brooklyn. They have the largest Chinese community outside of China. And you first realize it if you lose your laundry ticket and you have to go looking for your laundry. The Chinese population live here mostly under their own authority and in the customs of their ancestors. Dig that crazy hot rod. These Chinese had clever ancestors. Here's the Chinese telephone exchange. I wonder if I can put in a call to Brooklyn. The Chinese say that one picture is worth 1,000 words. But it seems they can't convince their women any better than we can in Brooklyn.
Sorry, no connection. Brooklyn, wrong number. Goodbye.
How do you like that? Well, as Confucius say, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Maybe he heard of Brooklyn.
I beg your pardon. Are you referring to that motley populated 84 square miles located in the county of Kings, saturated with 2,798,000 population, considered the 5th ranking industrial city in the United States, has a $5 million library, Coney Island, an abundance of cemeteries, Ebbets Field, the home of them bums, and famous for one sickly little tree? Very sorry. Never heard of city of Brooklyn. Goodbye, please.
He must be Confucius.